The great thing about having an automatic buttonhole foot is all you have to do once you've set the size is mark where you're going to start the buttons. Bernina buttonholes always start from the back, so they work their way forward. So if you do your mark where the back side of the buttonhole is when it's looking at you, then you can space them on your garment or whatever. You can use your seam guides so that you're maintaining a 5/8 inch seam allowance if you're doing the front placket of a shirt. If you have a 5 series or 7 or 8 series, you can also create the buttonhole the size you want it and then move it into embroidery and use the embroidery unit to make your buttonholes perfectly spaced and aligned. The other thing that you want to make sure that you do when you do buttonholes is do a test sample. I'm the world's laziest seamstress. I've always admitted it. I don't do a step unless mistakes have shown me that I really need to. This is one that I do on a regular basis. If I'm making buttonholes in a garment or on a project, I will actually have scraps left from when I cut the project out. Using the same fabric and the same stabilizer that I will be using in my finished product, I will make a test buttonhole. I will cut it open and I will make sure that the button passes through it easily so that when I go and make all the buttons on my project, I am assured that they are the correct size for my button. After that, it's just really easy. All you have to do is set your foot down on the mark and tell it to go, and the machine will do everything else for you. It will even do a securing stitch at that very end. When the machine is finished with the buttonhole, it will stop on its own so that you don't have to. You can then use the thread cutter to cut your thread, or if you're doing a whole line of buttons, leave those attached so that you can pick up the foot, go to the next buttonhole and set it down. That's going to hold your thread tight so you won't end up with a little snarl on the back side of your buttonhole. And then you can just go ahead and make the next one. And you can do this until the cows come home. Once you have set the automatic settings on the buttonhole, it will stay that way until you touch clear or you turn off the machine. Then you can reset it again. But you can go to any other stitch because you can use your temporary altered memory and then come back and have the buttonhole be the same size it was before. Well, it's great if you have all these buttonholes, but then you have to be able to cut them open. We've used things like buttonhole scissors, we've used seam rippers. I cannot tell you how many hundreds of buttonholes I have gone through the end because I got a little too aggressive. And then I discovered a block and chisel. It's just a small block of wood and a chisel. And all you do is lay the buttonhole down and push the chisel, and you get a clean cut. And if the buttonhole is bigger than the width of the chisel, you just do a second one. Nice clean opening so that your buttonhole can go through it. Another thing that you can do to pre-treat your buttonhole is to run a small bead of fray block or fray check down the inside of the buttonhole before you cut it open. Let it dry completely. Once it's dried, you can cut it open, and that will help prevent the fabric from raveling inside the buttonhole, and it will also help protect the beads of the buttonhole should you accidentally nick one of the threads. Thanks for stopping in, and we look forward to seeing you again for another tech tip from the Presser Foot.